Hi everyone, it's Dawn Fisher of Morning Glory Needleworks. Welcome to my 38th FlossTube video. And as always, thank you to everybody who watches, subscribed, and liked my channel. And as always, I'm going to do my little blurb. I break my videos into chapters, so you can just watch the segments you want, or if you want to come back and watch just a certain part, you can. In the description where it's written out where I talk about the video, if you scroll down, there's chapters listed, and there'll be a timestamp next to that. Just click on that and it will take you to whichever chapter or section of the video you want to go to. And also in that description comment area, there's links to the Morning Glory Needleworks Etsy shop, Stitch of the Month Facebook group, Morning Glory Needleworks Facebook group, Buy Me a Coffee, bio link, and whatever else is down there. So anyway, it's the 15th of July, 2023. It's been a crazy week, and I have a lot to talk about. So I'm going to get started. Life update. The ongoing saga of my life. So I discussed in the last video, my house was going to be tented for termites. Well, it was. It was tented on July 12th. So the 5 cats and I had to move out for 3 nights, even though it was really only tented one night. It was just easier not to have to try and move the cats the morning they were going to tent it, because for all I know, they were going to be there at 7 a.m. They didn't come till, I don't know, noon, 1 o'clock. I got to watch them on my Ring camera. Anyway, so I found a cute little Airbnb very close to me that allowed pets. I really didn't tell them I had 5 cats, but I said I had 3. So what's 2 more? So that's where we stayed. It was interesting, of course, if you've ever tried to move cats that don't like to be moved or put in carriers. So I only have 3 cat carriers. So it took a couple of trips to get them over there. And of course, the challenge is always catching them. I did close the bedroom door because that's like the worst place. They get way under the bed or in the back of the closet or somewhere where it's really hard to get to them. So earlier in the day, I closed the bedroom door, and Glenda was just out walking around. So I just picked her up and put her, I'm sorry, I'm tired. I did not sleep well. I just picked her up and put her in the carrier. The other ones were a little more challenging. You have to remember Buster's huge. He weighs, I haven't been able to weigh him, but he's probably weighs over 20 pounds. He's huge. And he's very, very strong. So, and of course, once you start doing something like that, they all know something's going on. So it's like, poof. So I got Bustifer and Alphaba and Glinda over there. And then when I got there, the crate Alphaba was in, it didn't close properly. So I didn't know where she was because I'd been doing other stuff. I think I brought her in, and then when I brought the other ones in, I went to open her crate and she was not there because the door had come open. So that crate's going in the trash. Luckily, she had already found her place underneath the bed in the Airbnb. So anyway, I got everybody over there, and it was interesting. So, because I don't know if you've ever seen a tented house. I don't know if they do that in other states, but in Florida, they actually put the one they put on my house was red and blue striped. It looks like a huge circus tent, except they cover the whole house and close it up. They come in your house, open up all the windows so the gas will permeate and kill the termites. And then the tent is on for about 24 hours. And then they take it down and put fans in the house to try and blow all the gas out. And then the next day they come and take all this stuff out. He came about 7 6:30, 7 o'clock this morning, because again, my ring went off when he came in the house. So I saw him. It's on my front door. So I saw the guy come in the house, and I saw him carry out fans and stuff like that. So anyway, if you've never had your house tinted, any open containers of food products or medicine need to be double bagged. They bring over these special bags, and they're bigger than I thought they were. They're big, long, skinny, clear bags, and they have to be double bagged. And these are special bags that the gas won't permeate. And you have to bag up anything in the kitchen that's been opened. Any spices, if you've opened it, which I have a huge spice rack full of different kinds of spices, all that needed to be bagged up. Baking powder, baking soda, crackers, cereal, anything that had been opened and was not sealed. Everything in the refrigerator that had been opened and was no longer sealed. Ketchup, sauces, hot sauce. I crated up bagged up the eggs. I don't know if I had to or not, but I had an extra bag. So anyway, I had water, open jug of water, all that stuff. It took me, I started the day before because I didn't want to be too overwhelmed, because I knew the day we were moving out, I was going to have to get the cats also. So everything in the freezer too, open container of ice cream, not that they last very long, but meat that you bought and rewrapped, that needed to be bagged. So I spent a lot of hours bagging stuff up. All the medications, your medications had to be bagged up. So anyway, I got it all bagged. And then of course I had to pack everything for me and the cats for 3 nights. And I brought 4 litter boxes because Glinda won't go in litter. So she goes on puppy pee pads in a litter box. Don't ask. But anyway, so I had to bring 2 litter boxes for her just to make sure they were both clean. So she would go in them. And then I had to bring 2 litter boxes for the other 4 cats. Usually they actually have 4 in the house, but if I brought that many litter boxes, I wouldn't have been able to walk because the Airbnb was really small. So anyway, cat food, cat litter, litter boxes, litter scoop, my clothes, my medicine, everything I needed. Luckily, the Airbnb I found is actually like literally 5 minutes away. And if I count it, it's like 15 blocks. You go 3 blocks that way and 10 blocks that way, and you're there. So it was great. And it was tiny. It was just, and it was okay. It was so sweet. You walk in and there was a little garden. It was beautiful. I should have taken pictures of it. A little garden next to the house. And it had its own little fenced in yard. So you could sit in there and have coffee in the morning or whatever. If it wouldn't have been so gosh darn hot, I might have actually sat out there and had some coffee. And then the Airbnb itself was, technically it was a bedroom. It was just, it's not even as big as my bedroom now, but it was a bedroom. It was plenty big enough. It had a bed and a chair and a TV. And they had a little IKEA closet dresser thing and a desk. And then they had taken the closet, just a regular old closet, which is however deep they are, and made it into a little tiny kitchen. It was so friggin' cute. It was really nice. They had everything you could need. They had a toaster. They had a 2-burner cooktop. They had pots, pans, dishes. I did not cook anything while I was there. I heated stuff up in the microwave. They had a really nice little refrigerator with an actual freezer with a door, just a baby refrigerator. And he had the guy who ran the Airbnb, they had all sorts of snacks there. I didn't eat much of them. They had the goldfish crackers. They had little candy bars, just all sorts of goodies. The refrigerator had Pepsi. which I don't drink. They had ginger ale, which I grabbed one on the way out. They had water. So as soon as I got there, I drank a whole bottle of water. And then it had a full-size bathroom with a full, not just a shower, it had a full tub. And then it's a little bit smaller than my bathroom. But anyway, it was very nice, but 5 cats in this little room. But actually, they spent most of their time hiding under the bed. And then they would come out at night, except Glinda. I mean, she was under the bed for a couple minutes. And by the time I came back from getting the next load, they had like 6 pillows on the bed. It's a queen size and 2 decorative pillows. And she had like wormed her way and was laying in the middle of all the pillows. Like, I'm queen, I'm princess, this is my bed. So anyway, so they did spend a lot of their time under the bed. They did come out and see me. They did sleep with me. I posted a few pictures on Facebook of the 3 girls all laying together, and one of Bustopher and Mama Kitty, who's his mama, who weighs about 7 pounds, and he weighs over 20, I'm sure, because I can barely lift him. So anyway, I spent the 3 nights there. It was very comfortable. I went out to lunch with a friend from high school who I just reconnected with after 50 years. This year's my 50th reunion. How did that happen? And then anyway, after 3 nights, of course, I had to crate everybody back up and take them back home. And of course, they were hiding under the bed and not happy. And Mama and Bustopher were the last 2, and they had like plastered themselves against the wall at the head of the bed. So I just kind of pulled the bed back and grabbed them and got them in crates. And poor Mama, when she gets scared, she poops. So she pooped. Luckily, it was right there and I could just easily clean it up. Oh, I had to go buy a broom and stuff because they tended the house, and the cats threw litter everywhere, of course. So I went to Dollar Tree and bought a broom and a dustpan. That was one of the things they did not have in the Airbnb, and they usually don't, the little ones. So anyway, but it was fine. It was fun. The second day I didn't really, or the last full day I was there, I really didn't go anywhere. I went out for lunch. I just kind of relaxed. I took naps because it's been a lot. So, and just me and the kitties relaxed and took naps, and I took some stitching with me and my light, but I didn't bring the right cord for it. So I didn't get to stitch because it wasn't bright enough in there for stitching. So anyway, but now I'm back in the house. Obviously, it still kind of smells, but it's okay. They turned the AC off while the house was tented. So when I got in the house, it was 89 degrees. So I turned the AC back on, and it took it a few hours, but it's back to where it should be. Of course, this room here is actually an add-on to the house, and there's no central air. So I have a little portable air conditioner. But anyway, that's that. And now after all that, tomorrow I'm actually, or the 15th, I'm actually going to an all-day stitch in that will help me relax some more with the Sarasota EGA and some other people. And so now, but after that, I can start packing again. And I did have somebody come over and finally get a lot of the yard work done. He did an amazing job, and he's got to come back and do some more. But anyway, it's just a lot. It's a lot. And so anyway, and I'll talk about some of the other stuff I have going on too, but there's been some fun stuff. And I talked about this last time, you know, as I'm packing stuff up and digging through, and I'm still, most of my books are packed up, but I have to pack them in really small boxes because they're really heavy. So most of the books are packed up. I still have a few more to do and get them over to storage. I'll probably do that on, no, I can't do it on Monday. Anyway, I'm like wandering here. But anyway, as I dig through all this stuff, I keep finding things, as I said before. So I'm going to talk about a couple more things I found, and then I've got a few other things, and that's it. So anyway, you know, I did that Star Spangled Sampler class. Well, originally, and I think this was the inspiration, I was going to do a a Betsy Ross sampler, and I started researching Betsy Ross and the flag, and I ended up on the Smithsonian site with the Star Spangled Banner. That's how things get started. So anyway, but I think this was the book I found that kind of inspired me. It's called Betsy Ross's First Stitches. Isn't that cute? And it's in really, really good shape, especially because the date on it is 1925. So this book is 98 years old. I can't believe this little paper book is in this good of shape for that age. So it's got a couple little, it's called the Grand Sampler in the front. And then it teaches you how to stitch. There's an index of needles and thread. It talks about betweens, bodkins, which are for running ribbons or tapes, ground downs. I've never heard that before. That's a medium long needle. There's long-eyed needles. That's for darning and worsted. And then there's sharps, which are long needles. So anyway, it tells you different kinds of needles. It tells you how to start. It's got illustrations in it. It talks about running stitch, back stitching, and gives actually pretty good diagrams. Now you'll notice these pages are brown, and I'll show you why in a minute. So it talks about overhanding, which to me looks like a half across. And then there's basting, uneven and even basting. It explains the whole stitch. There's a stitching stitch. I've never heard that before, but a stitching stitch is actually a double running. I think you do every other stitch and then you go back and fill it in. So this is the front and this is the back. It's like a double running where you over, under, and then you come back under, over, over. And then it has cross stitch, catch stitch, which I would call a herringbone, but you're just catching and then going down, catching a couple of threads. There's overhand edging. There's overcasting, hemming stitch, but it's a wonderful little book. Blanket stitch, feather stitch. And then this is kind of a sampler of all the stitches that are in this book. And then, of course, there's the Grand Sampler. Now, these pages here that were all brown, I'll show you why they were all brown. And I don't know if these came with the book, but they were in the book. These are little paper stitch patterns. And the girl went, or boy, whoever it was, went, and you can see the little, they took a needle or something sharp and punched holes everywhere they were going to stitch. I don't think it came that way. Maybe it did. It looks like it was hand done. I'm not sure. But then you can see where they've done some of the stitching here. Oh, and at the bottom it says, "This is my bird and he loves me. He'd rather sit upon my hand than perch in a tree." Whoops. See that there. And then this, here's the little girl with her broom. It says, "This is my work. I'm trying to help mother, but sweeping with a grown-up broom is always such a bother." Isn't that cute? And then this one, "This is my garden. I love to see it grow with silver bells and cockle shells and pansies in a row." That's a really cute, there's a hair on it. That's a really cute little pansies and cockle shells and all these others there. And then there is, this is a drum. And these are on heavyweight paper. So anyway, that was kind of fun. I'd totally forgotten about that. I couldn't remember if I bought the Betsy Ross book that kind of inspired me or not. Obviously, I did. Oops, got it at an antique store somewhere. So now I'm just going to show you one more thing. This is a great, oh my God, and it's really heavy. I picked this up, I'm sure it was at a flea market somewhere. And this is this huge, I know some of you have seen this. All these patterns are in here. It's not a book. It is, well, it says it is. It says Book of Patterns and Instructions for American Needlework. A complete manual with step-by-step instructions for recreating 176 early American designs in embroidery, crewel work, cross-stitch, needlepoint, patchwork, applique, quilting, hooking, knitting, crocheting, weaving, and candle wicking, plus a special section on rug making. It's really cool. And this is by the editors of Women's Day. It was published by Simon and Schuster, and the date inside of it is 1961. So what it is, it comes out and there's another box inside of here, and there's a lot in here. It's really heavy. It is, you can see these are all the patterns here. So the first one I'm going to show you is, this is actually for cross stitch. And down here it says cross stitch 11. They're all numbered. And it's the pattern for these two samplers right here. The black one is the slate sampler from the Smithsonian Institution. And the other one is the cat sampler from the Brooklyn Museum. And you can see here is, this is the cat sampler. Can you see the cat there? The chart is very different. Oops, here's the other chart here. Kind of hard to see. But and then there's another, there's more samplers. It's all pieces of paper that are that big. I mean, it's wonderful. And then this is okay, so this one is 1962, and this is embroidery 1, and it's going to teach you how to embroider an apron. Here's your pattern, and then on the inside there's more of the pattern. It's really phenomenal. I have to have a drink here. And it is just Canada Dry. I'd rather have Vernors, but whatever. And this one is embroidery 5. And there's embroidery 4. This one is a fire screen. So here's the fire screen here. There's also a wreath of flowers. So you never know what you're going to find when you go to flea markets. I try not to buy anything right now, but of course I do. And this one's dated 1963. This is crewel work, which is different than embroidery. Crewel work is done with crewel yarns, but there's some really lovely patterns in here. And this is something I haven't done since the 80s. This is candle wicking. That was a big thing for a while in the early 80s. It's like a French knot, only you use a colonial knot. So the pattern is, it's just knots and I think it's knots and back stitching maybe. I don't know, but there's a, and they're from all different museums. This, let me get this open. It tells, okay, so this is an eagle from Mount Vernon here. Candle wicking kind of looks like chenille when it's done because it's white on white. And then there's a book on crochet and knitting, all different crochet and knitting patterns. And I used to knit, but I don't do that anymore. There's a book, oops, on weaving. This is again 1961, so it talks about different type of weaving. So if you ever find this, I know I ran into somebody else that had this also. And here's actually, that's probably a better picture of candle wicking there. And this pattern is called Robbing Peter to Pay Paul. This makes me want to do some of this stuff. Here's more candle wicking. This one's fabulous. This is that one's rug hooking, which I have not really done. But rug hooking patterns. Here's a eagle, is very cool. Here's quilting motifs. There's more quilting. What is this one? Hawaiian applique patterns. Very cool. So anyway, it's, even though moving is kind of a pain, it's kind of fun. Like I said, of course, that kind of slows me down. There's another quilt pattern, the Rising Sun quilt pattern. Here's another quilting template. Here's a pillow. This is needlepoint. This obviously counted needlepoint pillow. And this is all in black and white. There's no color on it. And then there's rug making also. But anyway, so this is just a really cool find. Like I said, if you ever find one, I have no idea what I paid for it. Knowing me, it probably wasn't much, because I don't usually spend a lot on books unless they're new or really hard to find. I can get this closed up again here. Anyway, okay, so I don't drop all that. Anyway, so that's kind of the fun things I've been finding as I pack up. It still looks like I have a lot, which I do, but now that the house is done, I can really crack down, or the house is tented, I can crack down and work on that, famous last words. So anyway, what's been taking up a lot of my time the last couple of weeks, on top of packing and sorting and leaving, I've been preparing for this EGA online class. Now I had the instructions were all written. I've taught the class before, but it was written as a 2-day class, which is different than 4 lessons. So I had to break this into 4 lessons. We did about 8 stitches per lesson. Each of these bands is 2 different stitches. So the blue is 1 stitch, and then all the blue stitches are over 2 threads, and most of the red and white stitches are over 8. So you're doing 2 rows of this and 8 rows of this. So anyway, but I've been working on that. So the first video I did was kind of a disaster. Actually, the video itself wasn't bad. I just didn't realize where. I do my videos through Zoom, and I didn't realize it was storing it in the cloud. And my cloud storage, wherever that came from, it is full. So I went to try and save it, and it says, sorry, I can't save it because it's full. So I had to go figure out where everything was. And I didn't realize it was saving all of them in this spot. I know, I've only been doing this for 2 years. What do I know? Or a 1.5 years. Anyway, so I went in and I started deleting and deleting and deleting and not thinking, and I was hot and tired, and deleted the video that I had just done. And I don't know where it went. I never did find it. I looked in the deleted files, garbage, recycle bin, everywhere. It wasn't there. So anyway, so I just kind of shut everything down and put it all away and said, I'm going to work on this tomorrow. I was Scarlett O'Hara. There's always tomorrow. So anyway, so the next day, I think it was the next day, or maybe it was 2 days, I did the first video, and it went pretty well. The second video went good until I hit one of the stitches, and I realized there was a mistake in the stitch, and I hadn't corrected it in my pattern. So I had to go in and correct. This is the fun of teaching and designing. You find mistakes. Yes, we all make mistakes. And the worst thing is to find out after you sent something out that there's a mistake. But anyway, so, but not only did I have to correct the stitch, I had to correct the diagram and then put it in the pattern, put it in my PowerPoint. And this is in the middle of making a video. So I just had to stop the video. And it took me about an hour, you know, to get all this stuff done. And then, of course, I had to edit out a section of it because I'd been talking about the stitch and I got to the end and realized there was a mistake. So anyway, I fixed it and got that video done. Then the next day, I was doing like one a day because it takes quite a while. The videos were about an hour and a half, and then they had some editing and some other things I had to do. I usually don't edit a lot of videos, in case you didn't notice, unless there's something really bad, especially for FlossTube, because it is what it is. This is me. And as you can see, I've been kind of running around all day. But there was this next day, kind of the same thing happened. I found an error. I think I found it. I'm so jumbled up here. I think I found it before the video. I checked and I fixed it all, but I had to spend all that time fixing one of the stitches. I mean, they look really good when you diagram them. And then when you go to do them, you go, wait, I just went down in that hole. I can't come back up in it. So anyway, that's the fun of designing, the challenge. But anyway, so I got that. I got all those videos done. So, and then plus I had done another FlossTube also in the middle of all this. So I did like 6 videos that were kind of stressful. So anyway, but I got the, and I had already sent the instructions to EGA. So I had to send them new instructions and change the name so they knew which ones to use. I sent them links to all the videos. So if you signed up for the class, when each section will have instructions and a video where I go over every stitch in that section, in that lesson. And of course, I break them down and talk about them. Then I demonstrate them just like I do for Stitch of the Month. But anyway, so that's what else I had going on. So I've had a lot of stuff going on, but I had so many people have signed up for this class. I am just so excited. I'm thrilled. I can't wait for the class to start. It starts August 2nd, and then the lessons come out every 2 weeks, and it's all online. There's no live. The video, you know, you go watch the video on your own time, and you have 2 weeks to do all the stitches, or at least try them out. And it's not, so you're not in a classroom where you're like pressured to get the stitch done before the teacher moves to the next stitch. You can just pause the video, finish that block or that row, whatever, and then start the video again, or come back the next day and start with the stitch you're working on. And I also talk about the history of the Star Spangled Banner in between the stitches. So I teach a stitch, you work on it, I talk about the Star Spangled Banner, and then do another stitch. So that's that. But like I said, I'm really excited. It's just, there's a lot going on. Plus I have another class coming up in October that I need to, I'll be getting ready for. That's the button box class right there. So that one I need to, I'm not going to think about that right this minute. But at least the instructions are done for that one. I just have to make up the kits. So this is the last thing, as you can tell. And I had a giant coffee this morning. Of course, that was this morning. Dunkin' Donuts. So now I've been showing this in my last FlossTube videos for quite a while. This is the 1885. This is actually needlepoint. And yes, I know it's long. It's about, let's see, I happen to have a cutting. So that's 36. And I think it's 36 and 17, whatever that comes to, 51. But anyway, this is this sampler. And these are actually needlepoint stitches. This is a 24 count canvas. So it's not linen. I mean, it may be made from linen, but it's a needlepoint canvas. And then these are done in tent or half crosses, these little bands. And then these are actually stitched in wool. Actually, everything, most of it's stitched in wool, except for a few little decorative stitches. So this is the original. And you can see it was finished. I don't know, it just rolled up. It's just like a sampler of stitches. And it's finished with silk ribbon, which is falling apart, and some kind of a weird waxed fabric. And then it's lined with brown paper, which that's not how I'm going to finish my reproduction. Let me roll this up so I don't damage it anymore. It's really long. So I decided I did it using DMC floss on 28 count linen. So it's a little bit smaller. It's only 4 inches wide, but I finished it and I'm so excited. I've been showing you this I'm unrolling it a little at a time, but it turned out beautiful. I'm just thrilled. So there's 10 different blocks, and they're done in DMC, but they're really shiny. And of course, this is done in floss also. So this is 28 count linen. And these are, again, in tent stitch over 1. And it works up really fast. And this actually was very easy to do, because once you had the pattern, I would do this while I was at a retreat or somewhere where I didn't have to think. Most of the stitches weren't too hard. There were a few that were a little challenging. One, I had the diagram was wrong, so I had to redo it. But anyway, there's some this is a really, really heavy stitch, but it was a lot of fun. And then the girl, she didn't sign her name, just her initials. I'm assuming it's a girl, MM 1885. And in the bottom, the original had beads, little tiny golden metal beads. I don't think they were real gold, maybe brass. But I did some research because I bought some gold beads, but they were too big, even though they were one of the smaller ones. And I did some research, and you can't even buy beads that small anymore. So I was going to do the beads in floss, but I found some gold DMC, is it 242? It's a gold thread, and I used that instead of the beads. And if you can see it, it does sparkle a little bit. You can't see it very well, but anyway, so it gives the same effect as the beads, the little flash of gold, but there's, no beads involved, just a couple strands of the gold thread. I have quite a bit left over. Anyway, this is about a little over 35 inches long and a little under 4 inches wide. But again, it's done on 28 count. These are over 1. Now, these are over all different stitches or different counts of thread. I have them all diagrammed, of course, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm hoping, I don't know when, I'm hoping I can get this pattern done, but I do have a couple other things going on right now. It's just kind of a crazy time. It was almost nice once I got into the Airbnb. It was like, I don't have to do anything because I couldn't go back to the house. So I didn't do much. I said I went and saw a friend. I went out to dinner a couple times. The last day I went out to lunch so late, I didn't even have dinner. The first night I went to a Mexican restaurant because it was Taco Tuesday, and I had a huge margarita. I ordered the small, but the small was like this big, huge, and 2 tacos. And I ordered a flan to go because I love flan. And of course I was stuffed, so I didn't eat that. And so I had flan for dinner last night. That was my dinner, which is good. It's got egg and milk and stuff in it. But anyway, so I'm very excited about this, and I'm going to finish it. Oops. Similar to the way the other one's finished. I'll back it with probably a plain kind of, this fabric is, I don't know what it is. It's kind of a waxy. I wish I could ask my mom. She would probably know what that is, but it's kind of a waxy, weird, slippery, weird fabric. See, it's just a very strange, it's not oiled, but it's very smooth and shiny. It's not chintz. I don't know what it is. Anyway, polished cotton. I may just use a polished cotton or something on the back, and then get some satin ribbon or silk ribbon and put on the edge. I'm just going to, like I said, I'm going to finish it kind of the same way. I don't think I'll put a piece of brown paper in the middle of it to stiffen it. I may put some stabilizer or something, but that is my exciting news. I'm telling you, it was so much fun, and it worked up pretty fast considering I really don't stitch a lot, maybe a few hours at a time, but I did take it to a lot of stitch-ins. I go to a lot of local stitching where we just sit and stitch all day. And so I did do that, I did work on it a lot there at those. So anyway, look for that to be finished sometime in the near future, hopefully this year. But with all that, that's it for FlossTube 38. Too much stuff going on right now, but it's okay. But as always, thank you to everybody who watches my videos and likes them and follows me and comments. I love comments. I like it when people give me back and forth, or comment something they have or they've found or whatever. And of course, as always, let me know if there's any, some of my needlework antique stuff is getting packed up. Other stuff as I do it, I may pull some more stuff out and talk about it. The next time will be Stitch of the Month. I have no idea what that's going to be. I'll figure that out a day or two before that. And I'm actually going to a 3-day retreat right after that video. So I'm excited about that. Don't forget, share your photos in the Stitch of the Month Facebook group. If you bought the Stitch a Day pattern, please, as you're working on that, and I've gotten a lot of emails and people on Etsy and stuff sending me messages about how much they love it. So I just love to hear from people. I actually just got an email from somebody who took the button box class. Darlene, I think it was a couple years ago when I taught it online for an EGA seminar, and she sent me pictures of her finished button box, and it's beautiful. I love to see them. So anyway, that's it. I'm exhausted. I'm going to go sit down and drink the rest of my Canada Dry. So you have a wonderful day and keep stitching, and I will see you again on the 1st of August. Yay!